Okay, I am recording, and we'll wait a couple of minutes to start class. See who else shows up. Kayla, there's a job fair today, and did you hear anything about it?
No.
I know Giorgio asked me to be a half an hour late because of the job fair. And I'm just wondering if we've got Tanda, and Olivia, and Robert.
Everybody else?
I'm just wondering if we have a job fair going on, okay, with everybody else. So I don't know. Excuse me.
They emailed us about.
Huh?
It's probably something they emailed us about.
Yeah, probably. Job fair. Will that be the case? Well, excuse me, we'll still give them a minute. So, Kayla, I may be just talking to you today. Okay, I need to see Robert to tell him that Dr. Sneed was saying one of his classes changed. Are you taking quantitative techniques?
I've already taken it.
Okay, there's a conflict that some people had. But I have registered, I think, 16 people this week. Yeah. So I think I got most of mine done. I got some graduating, and I've got 5 or 6 advisees. I've never seen them and never heard of them. They may have been on there from a long time back. They may have started, they may not have. They don't give us a true up-to-date list.
Yeah.
Well, we know that chapter 8 is about budget planning, the master budget. You've been through this before. We do the sales budget, the production budget, materials purchase budget, and labor budget. And we went to an overhead budget. And that's the 3 ingredients: materials, labor, and overhead. And then we did sell and administrative budget. And then we did the cash budget. And the cash budget, I keep stressing, is the most important. And here's a highlight of what that cash budget should look like, but we will practice it. And we also practice lag time. Robert, Dr. Sneed was looking for you. The quantitative analysis, I think it changed a half an hour somehow or another. Quantitative analysis. And just see him and he'll tell you what time it is. I don't know if it's on the schedule wrong or what was happening. Okay. Okay, Kevin, I know that Kayla and Robert, Tanda, and Olivia, and the rest of them here have got pre-registered. Giorgio, how about you? Who's your advisor?
Dr. Malazur.
Yeah, Malazur.
Yeah.
I know I had too many accounting advisees last year. I had about 40. That's why Robert ended up with Dr. Sneed. And because they tried to take some off me, and they gave them to other people. And a couple of professors didn't hardly have 5 advisees, and here I had about 60 until they took some of them. So, personally, I think students can do well by, I think you do well by advising yourself if you go by the program. If you start putting in courses or taking out courses, that don't work. You got to get your electives or restricted electives approved. But anyway, there's nothing else on the PowerPoint that I want to go into. All right. Kevin, you know what problems we had due today?
30, 31, 34, 36, and 54.
30, 31, 34, 36, and
54.
gosh, I really moved over, didn't I? Skipping those exercises. Okay, we need to finish the chapter as soon as possible. This is April the 5th. And if you were looking at a calendar, how many more weeks are in April? The 3 whole weeks? That was at least 3 whole weeks, maybe 3.5. And when do exams start in May? We have to have grades in by May 14, I know that. But they probably start about 5th, 6th, or 7th. So time is getting short. There's a couple of important chapters we have to cover. So I'm going to look at these problems probably pretty fast. See if you have any questions mainly. Well, I don't see my problem, so all right, Robert, did you ever get that doctor's taxes done last night? All right, did you just leave it in progress? Did you keep some of his material or what? Oh, they've got that arrangement made? Yeah, Savannah probably can do that. It depends on some of it.
She said she's done the 9 months.
Well, yeah, okay. Now, I use TurboTax at home, and you could have done it on TurboTax because it would ask you, do you have any land sales, any sale of stock or bonds or other capital assets? And if you said yes, it asked you the basis, the date purchased, the date sold, it would automatically put it on Schedule D. And
I like Turbo, Brad, that's why that's how I do my taxes.
yeah, well, TurboTax would have led you right through it. It would have led you through that rental income. You got the rental part of it in Schedule E. You know, I saw miscellaneous where he had rental income.
He receives money from college.
You know, he's a research professor up here. But, yeah, put that on Schedule C. All right. Okay, I'll help her or look it over it, whatever, before she finalizes. Okay. And, Lorenzo, your taxes, did we finally decide not to file it at all?
Yeah, what's going on? Like, I mean, yesterday, you already brought me like 3 piles of stuff that I need to send somewhere.
Who's doing yours? Giorgio?
I think he did. But like, the point that we are at right now, he brought me like 3 envelopes. And he said like, ship this one to the state, ship this one to the federal, keep this one. I'm like, I don't know. And like, yes, does everybody have to do it? And it's like, yes. And I know it's not like that. So,
No, we e-file. I don't know why you didn't e-file.
I mean, I think he messed up something and he doesn't want to say that. But I mean, it's like,
I'll talk to him about it. I know he was telling me something about your expenses, but you were away from home overnight for that job. And if we could count your rent, it would be 0. And I'm thinking you probably should file it off.
That's what I'm saying, but like right now, like,
I hope he didn't e-file it. If he gave you anything, don't mail it, okay, until I talk to him.
I mean, I can show you, I can bring it next week and show. I mean, it's like one envelope is like this thick, and it's like you need to sign everything and then ship it. And
Okay, I'll talk to him. And Robert, I'll give you 4 returns for last night, because I know that.
I got everything except for. I got everything else, but I just need.
Yeah, but I want you to be sure about it. If you're not sure, I want you to get somebody to help, whatever. But, you know, it came up that Tanda was always able to get the easy one. She did about 6, and you know, I'd send her one, and I'd turn around, she'd have it finished because somebody did one W-2. Those are easy. And Kevin, you did 3, your quote, I guess. Yours are pretty simple.
Just like that, $8.99.
Well, it's a good thing that we're doing. You see a lot of those little old people, and they're disabled, and paying H&R Block. Some lady coming there for her son, she paid H&R Block $285 for one little Social Security form and one little retirement form for her sale. 2 little forms, $285 to H&R Block. She said she'd come to us next year. Okay, but we'll see. I think Concord had it this year. Concord didn't start it until we did. Started getting publicity for it, and then Concord started it. So, but they've never done as many returns as we have. And I don't know if they give it for credit like we do or not. And I hope you gave Michael all of your names and addresses. You'll get a little paycheck from VITA. I think it's from the organization West Virginia. It doesn't come to you from IRS. But you will get a certificate from IRS, which is good to put in a portfolio. Okay? So much about that. Talk more about that in taxes. Okay, let's go and look at problem 30. And even though I want to go through these fast, all you have to do is ask the question, and I'll be glad to slow down. I'll be glad to tell you why it's what it is, if I can. So, all right, number 30 on page 335. This is that cash collections again. Sales for Roy's Catering are expected to be $450 of each month's sales. 80% is expected to be on credit. All right, so you get 20% down, that's cash. The accounts receivable balance on May 31st is $119, of which 90 represents the remainder of May's collection. That would represent 80%. There are no receivables from months prior to April. The collection pattern of Roy's Catering credit is 70% in the month of the sale, 20% in the month following the sale, and 10% in the second month following the sale. When there's some percents there to soak up, what are the total sales for April? What were the total sales for April? All right, it said the accounts receivable balance at May 31st is $119,000, of which $90,000 represents the remainder of May credit sales. Okay. What do we have to go on there, any of you? What do we have to go on to find the April sales? Now, I can find the sales for May. Okay. I expect to be $450,000 of each month's sales. 80% is expected to be on credit. Now, May the 31st is 119,000, which somebody multiply 119,000 by decimal 80, if you would. 119,600 by decimal 80. What did you get? Well, that didn't work. It says 119,600, which 80,000 represents the remainder. 90,000. See, 90,000 should represent 80%. And I don't think we can divide 90,000 by 80% and get that answer. All right. Let's just go straight to it. We'll sort out something. All right. Take 119.6, that's your balance. Remainder made credit sales. All right. So I wasn't thinking back to April. This would be the remainder of April's credit sales. I was thinking this was 80% of this, but when I had to divide or multiply, it was not. All right. But we know April's credit sales. What percent is still not collected? That would be 10%. All right, if you divide 29.6 by 10%, by 29,600 by decimal 10, and your sales was 296,300. That'd be your April sales on credit. Now, that represented 80%. So if you divide that by decimal 80, then your total April sales was 370. That's a pretty hard working backwards problem. Okay, but in most cases in the accounting world, you are working forward. And in textbooks and problems and tests, you're working forward. Now, the one place you work backwards a lot is in auditing. Are you taking auditing, Lorenzo? So you might want to work backwards in auditing. That's where you use your ratio analysis. You definitely do a bank reconciliation, a couple of months. And you audit some accounts receivable, see if they're real or fictitious. And if you have a mistake, you don't agree, you work backwards, okay? But, and if you're in the real world and you make a mistake for your own corporation, you work backwards. Okay, now Lorenzo, you graduate, you won't be here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You been to a job fair? All right. Okay, now Lorenzo, I heard you were going, somebody said you were going back to Denmark
I mean, yeah.
to work on an MBA?
Yeah, I'm a master in, I mean, I haven't been accepted yet, but I made the application. And it's like, you know, it's free for European citizens and it's like international business and management. And I mean, it will start next September. So.
Where is it in the country of Denmark?
Yeah, it's in like Odense, it's like 1 hour away from the capital.
But they will give you free tuition as long as you're in a European country?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good for a master, it's pretty good. I mean, and also like, you know, it's not a bad place to be there. Like the quality of life, they say, is pretty good. So.
That's good?
Yeah. It might be a bit cold, but I don't think it's not going to be much colder to Bluetooth.
Well, that's better than America. They don't want to do free tuition to anybody. Now, some states give free community college tuition or what have you. But like North America, we definitely would not give Mexico citizens free tuition in the United States universities. Okay? But anyway, Giorgio went to the job fair, and some of you are not ready to graduate yet, so you don't need a job fair yet, but it's okay to go see what's available. And it sounds like Lorenzo will be gone. But you'll get some kind of master's in the business world, you don't know what?
It should be international business and management. Or, I mean, they give you like some options, you know, you can make like priorities, you know, I put like my first
What language would your instructor talk?
English.
English? Okay.
I mean, most of the people speak English. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, of course, there is the the Danish language, but most of the classes.
Now Denmark, is that close to Germany?
It's border, like it's in the north, like
Because
it's a German.
both countries used to use the Dutch mark.
No, I don't think so.
Don't think so.
I mean, like in Denmark, they use like crowns or something.
Yeah, they're probably using euro now, but anyway.
No, they don't.
They don't? I always wanted the accounting class up here. We haven't had the manpower and so forth. But I think we need a class on international accounting. And then we'll get into the euro dollars and the exchange or Japanese yen or whatever.
What's the name of the other? Not the gap. The other one. IFRS.
Put one down.
The European standards for accounting. Like it's like in the US they have gap.
Yeah, did only thing. I don't know. I'm sure there's a standard.
Yeah, it's like IFRS.
Yeah. There's a standard, and some countries may adopt the same standard. But anyway, I'll talk to Mr. Arnold. I might have put it in there somewhere. I don't know if we put it in advance. What have you. Now he is changing the computer information system. What you have to take. Have you ever done anything with QuickBooks Pro? Robert, have you and Olivia ever worked with QuickBooks Pro? You have, Olivia? All right, Olivia, do you find it quite easy?
It's very easy.
That's going to be the whole course next year for computer information system. It'll be a lot easier, number one, but number two, you will be learning something you'll possibly use. A lot of employers are starting to ask, can you use QuickBooks Pro? If you got it, then you can use QuickBooks Pro. But like Liv said, it's easy to learn. I did taxes for a lady in QuickBooks Pro. I just went in and started running all for statements and information I needed, expenses, revenue for taxes. And I would go in and estimate if I needed to give them a bonus or dividend so they would pay corporate taxes plus individual. So I just went in and started using it. So it's that easy. Okay. So I'm glad he's doing that. And that way that class is now, Lorenzo's probably taking your information system.
Yeah, it was. I mean, not confusing, but it's like it was kind of disorienting too. I mean, we didn't really know.
When I taught it, 25% of the book was reviewing principles of accounting, very elementary. That was almost useless. And the other 75% was doing flow charts and different things. I could not make programs out of those two. But now, what I did try to get across, even set up a flow chart for an audited procedure. What you do first, audit accounts receivable, and we did some of that. But teach my students flow charting, and a circle means to stop, or maybe to start, and a rectangle means some kind of function, and a triangle, I used to know all those functions. I don't.
There was like the rectangle, like skewed, like the, how do you call it? Rhomboid means like or, like you can go either way, like you have two options.
Yeah, forget that. But I used to have to do that flow chart when I took the computer class. But that's when I took the computer class and we had to punch cards. And we run them through equipment that would take up this whole room. And right now, your cell phone will do as much as all that whole room of equipment. Okay? So, things become obsolete. And that's good to have new things. Okay, now B part, and you're doing some of the same things. Remainder of May's credit sales is 90, and that represents 30%. So your May credit sales had to be 300,000. So that's 30% of your credit sale. that can get confusing if you don't watch. If you take 30% of your sales, not correct. It's 30% of your credit sales. That's why they had 2% on all those solutions we looked at. Now, June collections, here, June collections of April, collect all the remainder, collect 20% of the 300,000, collect 20% of the 450. That's probably cash sales. And June collections of June credit sales, 80%, 80% of 450, 360, and you collected 70% of that, which is 252. So anyway, this is a lot of working backwards. So that comes out to be 431,600. And then D part, total June 30th, accounts receivable balance 138. All right, did a lot of working backwards. I'm interested in you also in working forward, okay? Now 31, let's see if it's set up any different. What were total sales for April? No, let's see. Cash collections, accounts receivable. What is August billing? Okay. The October 1st, 13 accounts receivable balance is 632.5. Of that balance, 480,000 represents remaining accounts receivable from September. The 480 represents September. All right. The remainder sometime else. The normal collection pattern for the firm is 20% of billings in month of service, 55% in month after service, and 22% in the month following service. The remaining is uncollectible. So it looks like 55, 20, and 22. Looks like 3% then would be uncollectible. Now let's look at 31. Okay. Kevin, do you have an answer for 31A part?
610.
All right. You took the balance. You took out the September billing. And this is for August. That represents 25%. So you must have billed in August 610,000. Okay. Olivia, you have the answer to B part, number 31. All right, B part. All right, September remaining 480. Now that represented 80%. So September billing had to be 600,000, not sales, but billing, credit sale. And what percent is estimated to be uncollectible? 3%. So 18,000 is going to be your bad debts. Okay. Robert, you have the answer to the next part? How much? All right. Collections in August, that was 610 divided by, multiplied by 22. September, October collection for September, 600 times 55. October collections of October billing is 20% of 750 or 150. So Robert's correct, 114.2. Again, makes you think, what do those percents apply to? This month, that amount represents 22%. It represents 25. Okay, I asked you to do number 34, I guess. Now that's just cash disbursements. On page 336, sales for September, gross profit. Then you know what cost of goods sold are. Decrease in inventory, 43,000, what have you. Wage expense, 325. Increases in wages payable, 42. Other cash expenses, 245. Decrease in accounts payable. So how much does this company expect to pay for inventory in September? Well, you could take beginning inventory, I suppose. Decrease in merchandise inventory, 43,750. Lorenzo, what you thinking on that one? How would you go about figuring that out?
Number 34.
Now, first off, take the 2,700,000. All right?
Yeah.
Take that and multiply it by 40%. What is our cost of goods sold? What is our cost of goods sold?
It's 1,080,000. Yeah, 1,080,000.
All right. Now we know that 1,080,000 had to be beginning inventory plus purchases minus ending inventory. All right. So keeping that in mind, let's look at a possible solution here. Now, wait a minute. Cost of goods sold. What did 6%? Okay, I asked you to multiply by 40%,
Yeah.
but you got to subtract that. That's gross profit.
So we gotta multiply for 60%.
Or just multiply by 60% straight up. Yeah, that'd have been better. 60% of this is cost of goods sold. Okay,
That's
less decrease in inventory. So you sold more than you bought. Cost of goods sold, decrease in inventory, sold more than bought, 43,750. An increase in accounts payable, and we're assuming that's for inventory, is 35,000. So it looks like cash we paid for inventory is 1,611,250. Very similar to the direct method on the cash flow statement. The direct method for cash flow, which we didn't practice a whole lot in principles, I practiced most of the indirect. You did have to find out the difference in inventory and the difference in your accounts payable. Okay, but B part for that problem, what are the total budgeted cash disbursements for September? Total. All right. Start off with your cash payments for inventory. They give you wage expense and they give you other cash expense. But if we had an increase, what was WP? Wages payable? Expense more than paid. So let's see if that's clear. Yeah, increase of wages payable, 42,000. So expenses was more than you had paid out. So take out that 42. Because you're not paying out cash for something that you owe for.
So we take out the 42 from where? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, it's an increase in wages payable.
Yeah.
You haven't paid for it yet, so cash is not going out. Now, cash is going out for this. Cash is going out for wage expense, except for 42,000. And then cash is going out for other expenses. So that's just some cash disbursements. And you had number 36, various budgets. Whew. 36, I don't know if you got to it or what you did to it or. Without reading everything, just one at a time. For next year, Penny Suits projects 8 million of sales and total fixed overhead costs of 2 million. Variable factor overhead costs are estimated at 65%. Assume no change. What is the company's projected cost of goods sold? Now that should be easy for you. All right. Take the 800,000 times 75%. No, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong one. Cost of goods sold. read that again. They project 8 million of sales and total fixed of 2, and manufacturing costs are 65% of sales. Brutal. All right, that was pretty easy. You didn't have to do it the way they did it, but take 2 million times, take 8 million times 65%, which they did here, plus the 2 million of other fixed costs is equal to 7,200,000. Cost of goods sold. Your gross profit then would be 800,000. Okay. Any question on how to do A? I can work it out on Notepad if you need me to. All right, what is 65? This is that bad pen. What is 65% of? It disappeared. Somebody give me 65% of 8 million.
That's 5,200,000.
That's your variable cost. 2 million is your. Wait a minute. Lorenzo, I got a zero somewhere. 5 million what?
200,000.
All right. I think you'll get the picture. Fixed cost 5,200,000. Variable cost, fixed cost 2 million, even, and that gives you the 7,200,000. All right, B part. Tommy's company has projected the following information. Sales gross profit is 25% of 800,000. That would be 200,000. Increase in merchandise inventory and decrease in accounts payable. You do that one about like we did a moment ago. B part. Take your cost of goods sold of 600,000. Add an increase in inventory and add a decrease in accounts payable that you paid out. And you get 665 cash payments made for inventories, whether it's in your cost of goods sold or not. Even if they're on hand, you paid cash for them. And C part, Butter Corporation has attempted to budget its overhead cost. Without reading that, let's see if there's a problem. All right, without algebra, without Y's and X's. All right, what does the $7.50 represent?
Variable cost.
What?
Variable cost.
And what's the 250,000 represent?
Fixed cost.
Fixed cost. And variable cost is 17.50x. Now, again, we know this is fixed and this is variable. And I don't think you have to worry about using algebra here. Okay, now, do we know how many units we have? When you read C part, what is the 7,500? Is that units?
Machine hours.
That's machine hours. All right, so all we got to do is take fixed cost, 250,000. Then we take variable cost of, what's variable cost? What is 1,750 times 7,500? What is your variable cost? Is that 131,250? And then your total cost would be, you've been doing this many, many times, and that gives you total cost. So you don't need to worry about algebra with the Y's or X's, okay? All right, D part. You're doing a little bit of a cash budget in D part. You got your beginning cash, and you're going to collect 470. And how do we know we collected 470? Guess it tells you, don't it? 470,500. You have a cash balance of 15. You collect. So this part is pretty much given, 485,500. Now, what's hard about the rest of this? It's given to you straight out, payoff for those payable, interest on those payable, purchase of a company computer, payments for operating costs, direct labor payments, cash overhead payments, cash selling expenses. So it's all laid out for you and all should add up right here. Okay? Now, if your payments is bigger than your cash, got a problem. Cash deficiency. Giorgio, do you owe any money to anybody?
No.
No. So you don't have a cash deficiency there, do you? Okay. All right. Now, if you have a credit card bill, anybody here got a credit card bill? You do, Robert? All right. Do you know the balance on it? Now, you don't have to tell us, but you have the money to pay off that balance. And you still don't have a cash deficiency, it does. But if we owe more than what we can pay off, we have a cash deficiency. But we may have a mortgage, we may have an installment loan, sure. Okay, so we need to borrow money, 100,000. So you at least have some cash in it. Now, you know, if you have a cash deficiency here, which one of these is direct labor wages, 110? Somebody here might not get paid or somebody's check might bounce. So you need a line of credit you should learn about in finance. Giorgio, you're taking finance. Lorenzo, you're taking finance on it.
I really think.
Did you learn about a line of credit, compensating balance, and all that stuff? Compensating balance. If you have a line of credit, 100,000, you got to leave at least 10 in at all times.
Confiscate, that's like the minimum balance that you have to.
Right. Line of credit, okay? But a business should have a line of credit.
What exactly is the line?
Huh?
What exactly is the line of credit?
All right, I had a used car business one time. And I might not have any money. So I go to the car, the auction. I may buy 5 cars. And that may add up to $60,000. All right? I didn't have $60,000. But I had a line of credit set up in the bank. They had approved me for $100,000. So anytime I was out of town wanting to buy a car, all I had to do was call them and they'd put that much in my account. If I wrote out a check to the auction, the bank made it good. So it's just a line of credit in case you need it.
Then you have to pay back the bank those.
Yeah, it's like borrowing, but it's approved beforehand borrowing. Okay, they approved me $100,000. I'm not borrowing any of it, let's say. But if I go to auction and spend $60,000, I need to borrow 60 of that 100.
How do you increase your line of credit?
You go to the bank, negotiate.
What, I mean, negotiate them. What's your leverage in negotiation?
Your assets,
My assets.
your assets. And how well either your assets, in a corporation, it would be assets, and then also look at your income statement.
Can I increase my line of credit, for example? I start with a low line of credit, but I work myself up with only just paying back the bank on time.
You can go and negotiate, then increase it. If you establish good credit, paid off the others, yeah, you could increase that. Some new car dealers probably have 5 million line of credit. So, you get a bunch of new cars in, oh, hey, but they don't pay interest on it unless they use it. So anyway, here's what's important. Okay, now you had number 36, and that was it. And what was the next one, Kevin? All the way over to 54? All right, all the way over to 54, folks, a cash budget. All right. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of glimpses on 54. All right. Jot down what you can on 54. All right. If you don't have this problem work, jot down a couple of check figures. Collections for 15 is going to be $1,065,000. Jot that down as a check figure. I only want a cash budget for 15, not 14. I want you to jot down disbursements. Total 249,167.
You go back 1 second to the collection.
I want you to jot down collections, 1,065,000. Disbursements are 249,167. Now I want you to put that in a cash budget. All right. And let's see, cash available. Okay, go ahead and look at this budget, folks, okay? Dr. Lily, how are you? That's okay. Tax question? Well, Chris, well, I appreciate that. Okay. Pancake jamboree. Tomorrow and Saturday. Okay, Friday. Okay, thanks. Okay, great. Where's the youth center? Stadium Drive, Bluefield. Youth center, Stadium Drive. Where's Stadium Drive? Is it out here? Yeah, that's just when you go down to the coffee shop and turn right. You go out to Mitchell Stadium.
Yeah, I think center is like here.
Is that white building that's like right before you pass, like Mitchell Stadium right up here, and there's a white building down here? Like you don't even pass the stadium yet, it's almost in the parking lot. Like most of the time where the ambulance and people like that park for football games.
The doctor nearly gave me a ticket worth $6 for pancakes. Everybody wants this ticket, I'm gonna be here tomorrow. Everybody want pancake breakfast. Do it, yeah?
Wouldn't be here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
This is Friday and Saturday, usually Friday or Saturday. Take it just in case, okay? I won't be here today. But that was nice of Mr. Lilly. I don't know if it has the times on our Georgia or not. But anyway, folks, I want you to have this problem in good shape for everybody to turn in by Tuesday. I wasn't going to require it today, but Mr. Lilly took some of my time. But anyway, the cash budget for 15, you got your total. That should have been $1,065,000 right here.
54. All 54.
Mm-hmm. Handed in Tuesday. You should have all your cash now. You should have all your disbursements. According to the final answer, you got cash available and payments to creditors. Now that hardly ever works, folks, to zero, but it might. We know we don't work anything out to zero. All right, so hand that one in Tuesday. Plus, let me give you a couple more here that might need to go with it. Number 56 and number 57. All right, now I want you to look at number 57. You should have already had this one problem, 54, at work today. But 56 and 7, turn over and look at page 346, number 57, comprehensive problem. All right, you got to prepare a sales budget, and then a production budget, and then a purchase budget, and a labor budget, and an overhead budget, and a cash budget. Now, you'll have one problem from this chapter probably on your next test. It will be something like this. One problem. All right. So please work those two problems. They're similar, 56 and 57. Okay, we'll look at a couple more things on that chapter on Tuesday. And then we're going to get into profit or loss. I want you to turn to page 354 real quickly. I don't know if we had break even in manager or not. I don't think we did we? We did? Well, we got it again. Break even is a nice little concept. It's not hard to learn. I didn't know if we had manager or not. But along with break even, we did have it when it came to contribution margin, I think. So that's what our next chapter will be. And your margin of safety, I think you've had all of that. So if you get a chance, read that chapter. I'm going to let you go today because I got some more people to register. And George Hill, you're going to register next week?
Yes.
Okay. And Robert, you might need to see Dr. Sneed to see what time your class has changed to. And I think that takes care of all the stuff. Okay.
So in case like the exam would be the following week, like not.
It's getting close. Yeah, we got to have two more tests, Lorenzo. We won't have one next week, but we got to have the one the next week.
See you in Texas.
Okay, take care.
Just last, I have a tax question. In what case does the taxpayer has to send it to state and federal?
All right, let's come here a minute first. You, Lorenzo and I have a tax problem. Okay, now, have you done Lorenzo's taxes?
Yes.
And did you just print him out paper per copy?
Yes.
Okay, now I know we looked at Lorenzo's one time and he would have had to pay some social security taxes in. And I don't believe in him paying social security taxes in because he's not gonna be here. So to retire. So then we came up, he had all this rental expense, right? And he probably had a loss. Okay, now you give him paper copies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Lorenzo, keep them or destroy them and don't do anything with them. You don't need to file taxes.
I don't have to ship them.
No, do not file.
But does everyone have to send out when I print them out a copy? Does everyone have to send out to state government?
No, we will not e-file. So you didn't put his up there to e-file, did you?
I mean, I'm not this complete.
Complete, but you didn't do a paper copy of it. I mean, did you put e-file or paper?
Paper, it's just paper.
Okay, paper, don't send it in. Okay, you don't need to.
But other than that, like when I do somebody else's tax return, do they have to send out that paper to state government or federal government?
Okay. Well, not if we e-file them. If we e-file them, they don't have to send anything. Okay. Yeah, my son here. We'll talk about taxes too. Okay, y'all too. Hey, bud.
Hey, I was trying to remember Polly's husband's name. What was it?
Roy?
Thank you. I know he's like the second dad to you, and I couldn't remember. But the biggest question I got is who are we a direct descendant from?
We're direct descendant from, oh boy, Joseph and Caroline Lester on Dad's side.
But why is that special?
I don't know. Dad was Joseph. Now, your great grandma.
Who's the Indian that we're straight down the line from a very special Indian?
Well, Caroline was half-Indian, and she was a descendant of Pocahontas.
So we're a direct line of Pocahontas. We have papers on it. It just sounds so preposterous. I like Dad to tell it because.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, I miss you. I love you, buddy. I'll call you when I get home.
Okay, love you. Bye. He's always, he's got patience. He's a doctor chiropractor, and he wants them to hear that he is a descendant from Pocahontas. Because our grandma, my grandma was half Cherokee, and Pocahontas was not Cherokee, but my grandma was a descendant of Pocahontas
Oh, wow.
and Cherokee.
Could you do me a favor? Could you get? Could you get this?
Yes.
Thank you. One more favor. Sorry, just the intake sheet. Will you just give this to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. You can just tell me the show.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was you. Yes, it's probably the last word. Okay, all right, thank you.
So I'm really hoping this is your due. I have 37 due. Of course, today I haven't been able to have all the she's in a class, we've been going through her reviews. That's actually getting where I need to be.
Yeah, I probably won't get an A. I would love to get an A.
Well, Sarah told me that, like, when she first did it, that Lester just asked them and didn't tell them that they needed to keep up with it. I was like, you know, we didn't tell us either. So then I started writing down, like, after that, so I actually remember, because, I mean, how are you supposed to remember how many?
Mom's gonna be however many I need.
Exactly. Yeah.
If he would have given me 4 tax returns, when I did, that'd be nice.
Well, that's because the first time we did it, I had a lady that had rental property, and they can't come with it, they told me to use it. Well, then I had the other money, and I mean, it has some needs, and I was like, yeah, I've only got like 25. And, I was like, were you gonna still care what the rental property is too? And he was like, "There's no way." And I was like, so, and I'm like, what about the people that are married that have 2 W-2s? Because if they weren't married, those would be 2 separate returns. But because they're married, we're only gonna get one return. I don't think that's fair. Because then that takes longer than just having a student that came out on 1 W-2. Yeah.
I think it needs to change the thing. Like, if you miss one day, you're behind so much. And even if you don't miss one day, you're still behind. You're in.
If you get stuck with somebody who, like last night, I had a lady come in that had all of her itemized deductions on a white sheet of paper, like 3 different white sheets of paper, and then gave me like the last stack of her mail that she's gotten since probably in January. I had to have like that one to go through because she had like bank statements and things like that in there that obviously I don't need. So I'm gonna have to take the time to go through all that. But then the next lady that came in had like paper clips, all of her dividends together, all of her interest together, like her income together. So she was like super organized. It just depends on who you get, depends on how much time you have to spend just looking for information.
You were still there. And that lady that talked about that was like, oh, let's see how much we can get if I claim both my daughters. Let's see how much we can get if my daughter claims my daughter. Like, just get your tax return done and get out of here. And I'm trying to leave at 7 o'clock, and it was like 7:45 when I got to leave. I was so mad. Oh my God. Like, I don't feel as if I should stay over for that mess. Like,
Yeah, if I'm gonna be here for an extra 45 minutes, it's gonna count.
I'm mad because I had such a big trigger I got home. And then I was up like super late, and I had to turn around and be at work at 7:30. It's Litchfield, and I live 30 minutes away. Like, I go to bed at like 10, 9:30. It's like it's hard to function when you work so early in the morning and you don't get to bed. If you sit at a computer all day, like I will literally fall asleep. I don't know that. Why do you put it right over here? Last year, you went to McDonald's, that's what you did. This is not last year, because I remember just for another house today. I'm always like running on my bills. Like I want to be at max And she didn't do basically talk about Zach.
I have no idea.
Like we did 45 last night. What?
I have a question. If a person gets unemployment, they pay federal taxes on it, do they also pay state taxes?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it just carries it over for tax federal, you use it tax state. This West Virginia is a little break for military, public service,
Because he had, it's my friend, he had, like, the federal outfit. Also, would get me one of the, it's like,
anytime you need any of those, go up to 310, and that desk up front.
for the,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
First and second floor, there's, I mean, oh boy, this thing is lost.